Good morning, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here to start the new series for the month of July. We're now finished with June, and this series is my favorite 31 albums that came out in the year 1969. So I've been wanting to do this one for a while. I've been doing some kind of off shows for the last few months, different type of shows. But this one I've had on my list to do for a while. I like this year. I think this year in rock is pretty significant. A lot of major players came to the table in this year with some good albums. And so I've wanted to do this one. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to give you my 31 favorite albums that were released in that year, and they're going to start by doing the least favorite and going up to the most favorite, which is pretty standard. That's normally what I do. So my 31st to my first, or my least to my first, or my worst to first, or whatever you want to call it. I haven't really put any other restrictions on it. Like I haven't said, oh, one album per band or anything like that. And in a lot of cases, many bands, at least in this time period, were putting out multiple albums in a year, usually a couple albums in a year. And so I didn't restrict them from having more than one album on the list, because if I like them, I like them. And that's the way I really wanted to do it. If I had limited to one album, there would have been a couple of bands that had two great albums, and I would have to take one of them out, which I don't think was really that fair. I, I don't think I have any threes. There's no three here. It's basically just either one or two albums. So we're going to start with the first album on day one here, or the 31st album if you want, if you're one of the people that like to count backwards, which is what we're probably going to do with this series. So the 31st album is Steppenwolf's Monster, one of two albums they released in the year. This one came out in November. New guitarist added to the band. No hits on this particular album. A couple of ones that made the top 200, but nothing really serious. Their title track, I think, made made the Billboard top 200. Sorry, I was trying to remember what the word was I was trying to say. Anyways, it's a pretty solid album. It's an album I have on my list to get, but it's not something I'm actively seeking out. Like I don't look for it, but if I happen to see it, I would probably grab it. It's called Monster. So it's got basically, I believe there's 7 tracks on the album. Pretty bluesy album, but also got a hard rock element to the music, quite a bit of that as well. Vocals are good. The music is pretty solid. Um, Not as much psychedelic feel to the album as the critics claim there is. I don't hear a ton of psychedelia to this album. To me, it's basically a hard rock pop album with a blues overtone. That's the way I look at it. Some good songs. The first half dozen songs I think are pretty solid, and this is an album that I've been, like I said, it's in a list of albums that I would get if I saw it, but I don't want to pay a ton, so you're probably not going to see me purchase something like this online. If I see it while I'm out there doing my tours, then I will then I will probably buy it. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed. This is the first episode of the month, so hopefully get people on board and watching. We're going to do this each and every day, all the way to the end of the month until we get to our number one album. I don't think the top dozen or so albums will be a huge surprise to anybody. Some of the first half dozen albums or dozen albums might be a surprise. Many of these albums, maybe people don't even know, but I've found a couple of ones that I really quite like when I was searching these out. And I had a ton of albums. There's probably 60 to 70 albums I was rifling through trying to decide which albums I like. And some of these I do have the copies of, some of them I don't. It's just a matter of finding them, pretty much the way it is. Anyways, I hope to see you all throughout the month. And please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to leave any comments about this album by Steppenwolf, or the band in general, or anything I've said, you can do that in the comment section below. And we will see you throughout the month. So have yourself a good day, a good evening, and goodbye from Prog Monster. Take care.